Hi folks, and welcome once again to Family Friendly Bushcraft, the place where I come to make memories for my kids, save them up to YouTube, and if anybody else gets some enjoyment out of them as well, then that's absolutely brilliant. Just getting attacked by the triffids here. Bit of wisteria, mile a minute vine. Now I'd love it during this video if you could smash like, smash subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, because the more we do, the more we can bring to people, and hopefully the more enjoyment people will get out of this. So why not make memories for us all? Enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side. One of the simplest ways of getting a fire going, and most people I know carry at least 1 or 2 cotton wool balls in their kit, and they can be made into fire cakes as well, which is something we'll go on to a little bit further later on. Now, these cotton wool balls, the same as used for cleaning, people use for their makeup, whatever. Nick it out the missus's wash stand. You just open it up a little bit, the first spark, and away it goes. So you're never going to have a drama getting a fire going with that. Keep it burning for 2-3 times as long with a little blob of Vaseline in the middle, or what you can do is make fire cakes, which is where you make a 50-50 concoction of Vaseline and wax, melt it down and soak half the cotton ball in it. It goes for ages like that. That's something we'll do as a how-to in a later video. Now, we spoke a little bit earlier about using cotton wool as it is. It takes a spark first time, which is brilliant. We can get that heat transfer, that energy transfer, helps us get the fire going. That's absolutely marvellous, but it burns out really quickly, doesn't it? You get the same item there, but with a blob of Vaseline in the middle, and get that same heat transfer going. It burns again straight away, but it keeps burning. It keeps that energy transfer going to allow you to get your kindling lit, which allows you to get your main brush lit. If you're short of fuel, you can get these sort of things, these waxed jute sticks. They again can be a really big help, especially if the environment's a bit damp and you're not that good at firelighting. We're not all experts, are we? We don't go out there. I'm by no means certainly an expert. I just do what I do because the kids enjoy it. And you can see the waxes from inside that jute starting to melt, and it's starting to catch fire now. Again, some people may see it as cheating. I see it as using what you've got to make your environment more comfortable, especially when you're out with kids. You don't want to be stuck without a fire, without a brew. And they don't call it a lifesaver for nothing. And you can see how long, even without that waxed jute, that the Vaseline in that cotton bud was keeping the fire going. Gives you all the time in the world. Get your brew on, get your scoff on. Another of my favourite ways of getting a fire going, you can do this in all ways, is using a bit of birch bark. You see, you're just scraping up the loose stuff off the surface, just so it makes it very easy for the spark to catch on the oils within the bark itself. And again, we're going to take the flint and steel, put it in place. Now you can see that's never going to work in a month of Sundays, is it? And here's why. What a lot of people do, they take the birch bark, and this has been sitting in my pocket so it's drier than a lot you'll find out there. What a lot of people do, they'll take a bit of birch bark, they'll scrape a little bit of the surface, and with that little bit of surface they expect it to take a spark. But what I like to do is, see all this tissue paper stuff on the outside, we're just scraping it away, making that nice little pile of tinder. because it's all about transfer of energy, isn't it? When we make a spark, we want to turn the spark into a flame, in with the tinder, in the whatever material we're using, and whether that be turning it into an ember like with the King Alfred's cakes, or turning it into an actual flame. It's about that transfer of energy and keeping that transfer going. So it does look quite rough with quite a bit of it fluffed up there, and that's great, because what we want is for when it does get a flame going, for that flame to be able to travel and to catch to some more of the material. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move the ferro rod away rather than the striker towards the material. Hopefully that way all of the spark will land where we want it to do. There we go. In King Alfred's cakes, this sort of stuff is a tree fungus found on dead or ill ash trees in distress. This has been in my pocket for a while to dry out, which is one of the common mistakes. People just pull it straight off the tree damp and expect it to take a spark. Now what a lot of people do as well, they struggle, because they'll spark. As you can see, that's taking a spark now. Let's take it out of camera shot there. We'll come back in. We see it taking that ember there. Now what a lot of people do, they're trying to do it and trying to get it to take the spark like this. See, it glowed lovely in red there. Now you can carry that fire around in this form, just wrap it in some moss and make a carrier for it and take it to wherever you need to light the next fire, a portable fire so to speak, as long as you keep the occasional bit of air going to it. That's a really good and healthy ember. You can put it in with a load of tinder and get yourself a fire whenever you like. That's widely available in temperate climates wherever ash trees grow. That'll just burn away until there's nothing left. Another firm favourite is the old jute string, the same as you get at any garden centre for tying up your tomatoes or whatever. This I generally carry a little bit round a knife sheath, and you've always got some to hand. Let's cut that away. Now the trick is to get the spark into it. We want to thin out all these fibres, make it a ball of tinder. So we want to separate those fibres out nice and thin. You can do this with natural materials, with bits of the seed pods of reeds at certain times of the year. And it's the same principle. Another way of doing it, of course, is to lay it against the surface and scrape your knife back and two. What we're doing, we're just making somewhere nice for the spark to land, to get that exchange of energy again, to turn it into a living flame that we can then build into our fire. Help if I held it straight, wouldn't it? Now I'm not trying to get a fire going, so I'm just going to demonstrate on a little bit and try and beat the rain that's coming in quickly. There we go. Folks, for the traditionalists amongst you, we've got the napped flint and steel. We've got the steel striker and the flake of flint. Now you would think that you'd need to go underneath the flint to catch the spark on the way down. It's actually the other way round. We put the char cloth on top of the flint and strike down. The idea is to catch a spark in the char cloth and cause our ember. This is what we then light the fire with. Well, the trick is, when you're using the traditional flint and steel, is to strike at an angle that produces a spark. It's about to rain here, and this is why I've come out to do it, so hopefully you'll see the sparks a lot better than earlier when the light was there. The light was at its brightest. I'm trying to beat the weather, so I'm over trying a little bit and knocking lumps off my flint, But you know, this is the time to get it wrong, isn't it, when it's not that big of a drama. A good size ember. There you go, that'll start your fire any day of the week. I mentioned we were trying to beat the weather for this little fire making video. You can see the sky clouding up there as we make our way back to the shed to put the kit away. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, you've learnt a little bit. Any other tips, feel free to share. Obviously I've not done any chemical fire lighting like potassium permanganate and sugar or glycerin, anything like that, but that's something that can come again another time. It's really darkening up now, so I think I'll go in, have a brew. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell for notifications. More videos coming soon. All the best for now.